So I called in my able assistant, Mrs. Farmer. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you.
You come here often?
I do, when you're here, when you're cooking.
That's true. You know what? Here's the deal. Here's what happens. Every now and then you go to your favorite store and you see a sale.
Right.
Okay, you gotta think ahead. We always think ahead about our food. What if chicken is really cheap? What if pork's really cheap? What if beef's really cheap? You can can that. You can freeze it as well. But what if you're out of freezer space?
Right.
What if you just killed a hog?
This is easier to store.
What if you killed 4 deer? And there's another reason you might want to think about canning meat. That is, when you can this meat, it is ready to eat. Now, when you look at it in a jar, sometimes you think, well, that's not very attractive.
Right.
Because the fat kind of works its way to the top sometimes. But that means nothing with taste. But when wintertime does come, fall comes, you want cheap and easy stews, soups, things that fill your belly, things that are hot. Now, when it comes to the chicken or the pork or even the fish, you talk about making like tuna casserole, or out of your meat, out of your fish.
You can
meat.
eat it right out of the jar, it's so good.
You can, and you can make a chicken salad, stroganoff,
You're making me
anything.
hungry.
That's what I'm saying. This stuff is already done. Usually, and I've talked about this a million times, say we're out here cowboy cooking, and your meat takes you 3 or 4 hours to get soft. What if, now we just did the cowboy cooking pot roast.
Right.
What if we took and wanted to make a stew?
Yum.
And that was already done. Then you only have your vegetables.
Right.
Now, if you've canned your vegetables too, they're already gonna be ready.
Just heat it up and go.
In a short amount of time, you can have soups and stews and wonderful things. And don't forget, it makes wonderful chicken salad. Now, you've caught a bunch of fish, a whole bunch of fish. It happens on occasion. You bring them home, and it's better for the firm-fleshed fish, or you kill an Asian carp. People laugh at me when I say the Asian carp. Please.
It's delicious.
It is wonderful.
Delicious.
And when you pressure cook that, those bones dissolve as well, and you can make, tuna fish out of that with a little mayonnaise and relish, and then you're good to go.
I remember eating out of the jar with crackers. It's that
It's
good with
wonderful.
nothing. Right.
Now, here's one thing you have to keep in mind about canning meat. No hot packing, pressure cooking. Pressure cooking only. You got to kill all the germs. When you're putting this stuff up, you have to sterilize your jars and lids. We sterilize those too. And you have to have a clean, disinfected working area. And we've done the best we can to do that. Now, you are responsible for your kitchen and your cleanliness. This is what we do. There is some danger, but there's danger in walking outside and driving down the road. If you have some bad tomatoes, you'll know they're bad.
You will.
Your nose will tell you. But we have been doing this a long time and have not had any instances of that. We've got venison. Now people say, well, how long can you store it? Well, I've eaten stuff that's 2 and 3 years old. But what we really do with this is usually we'll only take that meat and use it that year or maybe the next. And we check that very carefully, smell it, so on and so forth. But usually we take care of that rather quickly because it's so good and it's so easy. It's already cooked, it's already soft, and there's so much you can do with it. What we're doing is raw packing. That's what they call it. We're gonna take, let's start with the beef. We're gonna take our jar and we're gonna just basically cut this up into whatever size chunks you would want to use.
And I can kind of cut again.
This is a boneless shoulder roast, and you really want to buy these, get them cut up as soon as you can. What you're gonna do, you're gonna pack this in here, leave about an inch head space here because the juices will come off out of this. You don't have to put any juice in there. You can if you want to put a little bit of boiling water. Some people put bouillon. We're just gonna put a little salt and a little pepper. You don't need the actual salt to preserve this. We cut off most of the fat. It doesn't hurt to leave a little on there. And we're just gonna do one little jar of each to show you how it's done. When it comes to storage, you need an even, cool temperature, and we like it fairly dark. We put ours in our laundry room. We're still talking about it, but if it'll ever stop raining, we're gonna start on our root cellar.
That'd be nice.
That'll be nice. Now that's what that's gonna look like. We'll take a little bit of pepper. How do you like our 1936 salt shakers that we found? I like my old stuff. We have disinfected our board. We're gonna start again with the chicken. And we found boneless breasts on sale. But we're gonna cut that up the same way. And again, you talk about chicken noodle soup real quick, like
Oh, yeah.
chicken salad. I mean, the amount of work that we're putting into this is not that great. Now again, this is what we do. We're responsible for our kitchen. Just be careful. Do things as clean as you can, and you'll be good to go. Okay, we have come back with a clean board, and we're gonna cut some fish up. We're gonna cut that a little bit differently, just put it in long strips. And I tell you, a fish that this really works good for is striper or white bass. And we'll just pile that in there. We want to get as much air out of there as you can. You can put a little bit of a mayonnaise in this with some of the Garden relish.
It's good.
And you've got yourself an instant, wonderful sandwich. And these are boneless, obviously, but that's the thing about this too. If you run into a little bit of bones, guess what? It's gonna cook them up when you pressure cook like this. It's gonna cook those up. Just a little salt and pepper is what we do in each
So
one.
simple.
So simple. Now, let's talk about your pressure cooker real quick. Make sure that your little hole in the top where your steam comes through is clear. You can take that up and look at it, blow through it, make sure it's clear. This itself, the little jiggler, is 5 pounds. This is 10 pounds pressure when you put that on. There's one more that would make it 15 we've got at the house, but we don't need that. At this elevation, and check your canning book, check where you are. For this, we need 10 pounds pressure.
Perfect.
So we've got 3 different kinds of meats. We're coming up with our pork. Let's get this
clean
board
up.
disinfected. And I'm heating some water up to put in our canner. We're gonna have to start with 3 quarts. Now this is the Presto. Look up your particular canner and see what it needs. We've got the rack in the bottom, and we're getting ready to get it rolling. We have disinfected our board, and we have some pork loin that was really cheap, and we're gonna cut that up into chunks as well. The things you can do with this is limitless. Now think about this. Your pork's gonna come out nice and tender. It's gonna have a little bit of flavor from the salt and pepper, but you can throw some barbecue sauce in there.
Oh, yeah.
Instant sandwiches for
Yeah.
kids, for us. So again, we're just about out of freezer space, and we're thinking about quick and easy. Remember the inch headroom. Make sure everything's sterilized.
Look good?
Okay, let's go a little salt. A little pepper.
I like your salt and pepper shakers.
You want to make sure the tops of your jars right around here don't have anything on them that would make it less than a good seal. We have now 4 meals in a jar for the future.
Look how fast we did
And
that.
boom. So just be careful, stay clean, and look, we got our little tool. If you'll open the top of this. Now, you get the top on, you get your water hot. When you see steam starting to come out the top, let it do that for about 10 minutes before you put the jiggler on. When you put the jiggler on, when it starts the jiggling process, that's when you start your timing. Pints for meat here in Kentucky, it's 75 minutes per pint. If you want to do quarts, it's 90 minutes. Set your timer. When it's done, turn your heat off. Let that heat come down. Let it come down for a long time till your jiggler stops jigging and your little pressure cap goes down, and boom, you know you're done. At that point, you can start thinking about taking the jiggler off. Pick them out, set them down, let them cool, put them in your storage space, and then whenever you want them, they're there. Now, one thing you do want to do once you get them out, so you can rotate them if you know you got some that you need to eat now, mark on the top the date and exactly what it is, because it can be confusing.
They look close a little bit, don't they?
They do. This is a wonderful way to have a pre-made meal for the most part. Your meat is
love it.
done, and it's flavorful, and it's delicious, and you know where it came from.
It's so simple.
There's nothing to it.